Hello everyone, this is Sirisha working at Godspeed. So, in this video, we'll know about how we use logging in Godspeed framework for observability and tracing of our application so that we can monitor our application and its performance and to maintain the records. So, this in this way, framework, we support application performance monitoring APM and BPM business performance monitoring. So, to understand more about it, first I'll suggest you to go through the documentation thoroughly so that you'll get a good idea, and then you can give it a try, trying it out using a sample project and all. So, first go through the documentation and then go ahead for the samples. So, here we have lot of content written, like how we set up our observability for our application, how to enable it, and how to export it to our collector and all, and yeah, all these things. So we'll pick some of them and we'll try. First, we'll pick up an example. So this is one of the sample here. So we can first we'll look after the levels, log levels. So we usually follow Godspeed framework. Usually follow the Pinot format of log levels. So where you can check out the documentation link, you'll have a lot of navigations to give you better understanding what we are doing internally. So yeah, have a look on that before going ahead. So this is where we set up our log level in default.yaml file of config folder in our project. So the default log level will be info, so that we can see the logs of above the info level and info logs as well. So this is the reason we specify. As of now, you can see the logs which are printed here of info level. So because info will be the default log level, so we'll change it to debug. Yeah, now we change the level to debug. So for this, actually, we follow Pino log levels, which you can also see in the documentation. Uh, just a moment, we'll go through that. Yeah. So the minimum level set to log above this level. So here we are referring this Pino log levels. So if we navigate to the scene, here we can see the hierarchy. Fatal error, warn, info, debug trees, and so on. So the default one will be info, right? So we can see the logs above this info, so which are warn, error, and fatal. So till info we can see the logs from here to here. So we can't see the logs of debug trees and the rest which are after info. So we can see the logs until till info only. So this is how it works. So we follow this hierarchy of Pino log levels. So as we already set up, it has debug, which is after info. So we must see the logs of debug and the levels above debug as well. Will be able to see the logs um, above debug and debug level as well. So here you can see the logs of debug info, which are not there as of now. So as of now, we were only seeing info level. Now we can able to see the debug level as well, because we have changed it here in the log level of config default.yaml file. We'll also hit the API. What happens? Well, let's see. Yeah. So yeah, so this is what, like, depending on our level that we set in log level of default.yaml file, we will be able to see the logs up to that level, up including that level. So we can't see the logs after that, like below that level. We can see the logs of that level and above that level in our terminal. Yeah, so this is how we set up log level in our projects. So one of the features in this logging in Godspeed is log attributes, custom log attributes, and workflow level. So here we can give, I mean, well, handling errors, we can specify our log attributes. So for on error, we have a separate video which is out in our channel. So once have a look at that, so that you can understand how we use logging. So this is one of the sample workflow where if I will show you like how you can check these logs, what will be printed. So this will be on your requirement, like to know what happened in a particular task or a workflow. You can specify your log attributes in the on error object. So this is complete structure of on error. So you can specify your log attributes inside it, and you can check out in your terminal if your workflow got failed and if you want to track it. So this is one of the sample workflow. So here on error is specified in workflow level. This is the top one. This is workflow level on error, and this is task level. So this works for the particular task which is specified above here. So if any error occurs in this task, this on error will be triggered. This will handle this error of this top task. And if any task of this overall workflow gets failed, this is the top level on error. This will be triggered. I mean, this will handle the errors that occurs in this workflow, overall workflow. So yeah, to make this intentionally fail, this task will get failed if we use transform. Transform is one of the inbuilt function of Godspeed. So if we use this and set the args to this workflow will be failed, so that on error will be executed. So we'll see the logs, like how it will be printed and how we can modify it on a requirement, like where to see the logs got failed. So here internal server error will change this logs to know the difference between on error of workflow level and task level. Internal server error at workflow level, and error at workflow level message, this is fine. And here internal server error, this is at task level, and this is also at task level, error at task level. So in this case, what happens? This is the first task. Workflow task 1 is the ID. So this will get failed because we have set tasks to this and we have already used the transform function. So in this case, this task is going to get failed. And the second task we have used the same. So overall, this workflow will be failed. So the on error of workflow level will be get called. So we are expecting these logs to be printed, this logs to be consoled in the terminal. Let's see what happens. We'll trigger the API. Yeah. Yeah. So here you can see the difference. We got a object called error, and we have the logs which we specified in the on error. Internal server error at workflow level, error at workflow level. So what happened in the workflow entered to the first task, this task. So it got failed, and immediately this workflow on error of workflow level got triggered. So that is what the reason we got this object, error object in the top, where we specified internal server error at task level, and we got the same message here, and the message error at task level, we got the same here. So immediately, if after this first task got failed, the on error of task level got executed, and the logs which we specified in the particular on error object got printed in the terminal. So next it will go to this next task, that is workflow task 2, It is also failed because we have set the args in the same way that we specified for the first one. So that's the reason both the task of the workflow got failed. So that's the reason workflow level on error got triggered, and the logs that we specified in logs that we specified, the attributes which we specified in the on error of workflow level got triggered, and those got printed here, which you can see in the terminal. So yeah, we can give our custom log attributes for our workflow depending on a requirement in task level and workflow level, so that to handle special case errors by checking them. So going ahead, please try to read the documentation of this log level so that you can make use of it fully, so that you won't be missing on anything. And yeah, so coming to the next, we can enable hotel logging format and penoperative logging format in this. Once we'll have a look like how we'll enable this. To once check out this configuration in our documentation, enabling observability. So we have a env variable called hotel enabled. So we need to export this value, which takes the boolean value, that is true or false. So by default it will be false. So we need to enable this variable, we need to make it as true and export it, and then we need to install this npm package, npm install Godspeed system tracing to enable the observability in our project. So, and later on, you can specify your collectors here using this env variable again, and we need to export it giving your IP, collector IP. So for which we have given lot of examples and samples in this documentation. Once click on those and navigate to all the pages and try to understand it more. So you can have different collectors for tracing and metrics individually, or you can export it to the same IP depending on your requirement. So first we'll try out this, we'll enable tracing observability in our project. So it will enabled, we are making it as true, and I have already installed that package which is given here, npm install Godspeed system tracing. It is already installed. So to see different format of logs, when any hotel enabled is true, we need to set the format of logging. So by default it will be in def. So when the logging format is set to def, the format of logging will be in penoperative format, so which you can see, this is the one, this is penoperative format of logging, which you can see on the screen. So when we change it to, when hotel enabled is set to true, I mean when observability is set to true, which if we enable observability and set this format of logging to prod, then you have a you'll see the difference in logging. Yeah, here you can see the difference between the previous logs which you got and the logs which you got after enabling the observability. So these are this is hotel format of logging, open telemetry. Open telemetry format of logging will be visible only when you enable observability in our project, and when you set the logging format to prod. By default, observability will be set to false, and logging format will be dev. So where you can see this kind of logs in your project. Yeah. So one more thing for in logging, we have masking feature, like this will be helpful while we are working with sensitive data of your project. So if you want anything that to need to be hide in your terminal, I mean if you want to hide anything which should not like sensitive data like credit card numbers, mobile numbers, or any pins, etc., which should be hidden, then you can use this masking feature. So I'll show you how we do this. Yeah. So there's logging level, which we already have a look, which follows the Pino log levels. We need to specify this log level in static variables, which is config default.yaml. For logging, we need for masking, we need to use this. We need to specify it this also in config default.yaml file, uh, that is redact. So this is log redaction. So we'll redact the variables that we should not, which we don't want to be in our logs. So we'll specify this here in our, this is our default.yaml file, which is inside config folder. So we'll specify this variable redact, and this is an array which accepts multiple values. So what is coming in our API? Let's have a look at the function, what it's returning. Yeah, this is going to return actually args name uh, task2. So this is the one we just given a sample. We just defined a sample example here. So we'll give the same. In data, we are getting name. So we want this value should be redacted. So let's see the difference. We have saved this file, and we need to start the server. Yeah, we'll hit this API. We'll see what happened. Yeah. So here you can see, yeah. So this is the request response that got returned. Here we have success true, and code and data, and name got hidden. It is hidden. It got hidden here. It got redacted using this start. So this variable value, name variable value, is not consoled in the logs. So yeah, it got redacted. So this is how we mask the fields that which we don't want to be in our logs. So this is how we can use log redaction in our project. So you can specify multiple values here which you don't want to see in your logs, and you can use it, on your requirement. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is how we have logs. This is how we use. So defining multiple, you can hide headers, and you can hide the deep level variables, like it will check where is the mobile number. If it is inside of multiple objects, then there also it will try to find it out, and it will be hide. So you have everything written in this documentation. Once go through it so that you can understand it better. Yeah, so this is how we use logging. These are some of the features that we have enabled in our uh, framework. So yeah, give it a try and try to understand it. I hope you understood about logging, how we do it in our Godspeed projects. Yeah. So thanks for watching the video. Have a great day.